Speaking to Canvey, I'm manager Brad Wellmen following today's 4-0 defeat against Whitehawk. Brad, after the high of Tuesday and getting through to the Essex Senior Cup final, obviously not the response that you wanted from that.
Yeah, difficult. It's a difficult pitch to play on. Very wet. Obviously a big slope. But, you know, I think the manner in which we gave up the goals was highly disappointing. But I think at times we played some quite good football on a difficult pitch. We tried to get the ball into pockets. I thought Foxy was quite lively in the first half. Jeremy Santos carried the ball well. Was getting opportunities. And I think, you know, when you look at the goals we've given away, the first goal, we've come out from a set piece and not picked up. Guys got a header from just inside the box. And then we got the other end and Sachi hits the post and we got a few opportunities. And we were sort of like saying, you know, getting at 1-0 and we've got the slope behind us. And we might take that. And then right on half time, we just decision making by players. You know, Toby's got the ball 1v1 to take the ball on the outside. Pace, the only way you can defend pace is if you've got pace, and tries to divvy-davver on the ball, come inside, we lose the ball, one ball over the top, pace beats us, lobs Bobby Mason 2-0 right for half time. So that was a little bit of a downer, sort of coming in at 2-0 down. And then second half, you know, we spoke about being highly positive and trying to play forward and keep getting into them pockets. And a couple of times, you know, just early in the second half, we decided to sort of play backwards. And then one of them's an underhit back pass to the goalkeeper, which gets nicked 3-0. And then I think the fourth one, we just played backwards, put ourselves under pressure, and 4-0. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's frustrating. We're in a rut at the moment, and we need to get out of the rut. And I thought that Tuesday might have done that. But listen, we've got to stay positive. We have to stay positive. We've got a young group of players. You know, there's a lot of sort of stuff going around the club at the moment, and we need to be positive. We need to try and keep a shining light. You know, there's a lot of negativity, but we need to, as a team, we can make sure we try and stay positive, and I think that's what we've got to try and do. And we'll come and go again next week. We're at home to Dover, which we was really good at earlier in the year, and I'll take that at home, and hopefully, you know, the crowd can stay with us and we can put in a result.
Individual errors is what we've talked about a lot. Would you say today would almost be 4 individual errors as cost us?
Yeah, I think that's a fair reflection. You know, anyone who's here at the game, he's not going to sit here and say it's a 4-0 game based on generic play. The reason it's 4-0 is that we've made 4 individual errors, or maybe the first one might not be individual, it might be a collective error coming out and not marking. But yeah, 4 errors and 4 goals, and they've made 0 errors and no goals. You know, so yeah, it's you don't want to push the blame onto individual players, because collectively as a team we've got to stay together. But you know, it's difficult, you know, when same people are making same mistakes. It's like I've said before in our interviews, you know, the only way to do that is to remove them. And I've got to look long and hard. You know, we haven't got too many weeks left before we can't sign any more players. So I need to see what I'm going to do, and in terms of keeping faith in players or having a change up and freshen up, you know.
We've said in the last couple of weeks that you said that you don't mind players showing a little bit of passion and frustration. The one thing that worried certainly myself and my friend who I was standing with was there was a little bit of a coming together between Manny Adebayo and Kane Gilbert, where they did sort of have a little bit of a scuffle. Is that something that worries you? There's passion and then there's disagreeing on the pitch in front of everybody.
I think, yeah, I agree. I'm with you. I like the passion. I think that those little individual arguments born out of frustration. So I think it's certainly frustration on the players' part. But I've just spoke to him in the dressing room, and what I said stays in the dressing room. That's not acceptable. We're a group of players that have a togetherness, and you can't show fractions and disagreements in public. We'll have fights in the dressing room all day long, but what goes on in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. We can't let that start getting out onto the pitch, because then all of a sudden it gives people opportunities to make assessments of what they think's going on with the team, and that this player's not getting on with that player, and this player's arguing with that player. And you speak to any of the players, they'll tell you, we've just spent 5 minutes in there talking about it. That's why I was late to your interview, that's not acceptable for me. You don't argue publicly, do you know what I mean? You say to them, listen, do this, or let's do this, but we need to stay together as a team, because if the opposition sees that, then all of a sudden they'll turn around and go, you know what, they're getting each other, they're losing their heads. We're not about that. We've got standards, and I've spoke to those players individually about making sure those standards are met, and we'll definitely be revisiting that at training and making sure that we are respectable for each other, but we would work for each other and we'll run through brick walls for each other. But we've got standards we need to meet, and we'll make sure we do that.
We get a week off now, no midweek game, so we have a potentially very difficult game against Dover, who you said early on in the season we did probably put in one of our finest performances of the season, even though we lost. How important is it that we try and cut out those individual errors, and how important could a good result be for our season in that one?
Well, listen, we need to cut out the individual errors. We know that. I think what's important is that I think for the first time in about 6 weeks, we've got a week of not rest, of training where we can rest up some of the boys, because some of the boys are sort of running with small niggly injuries. You know, Tom Stephen, Chris Harris, Jimmy Wallace, Jeremy Santos. You know, they've all got little niggly injuries that need resting. So it gives us a chance to maybe sort of look at things a little bit tactically during the week, and then sort of do some mindset sessions with the players on their sort of mindset in games and what they're thinking, and that will hopefully try and help them eliminate those individual errors. I'd like to think that a positive result against Dover next week will kick us in the right direction, but you know, when you look over our season, we've had positive results and not followed it up. So, you know, if we're whilst I'm confident we can get a positive result against Dover, it's then how we back it up. And I think that's been the biggest issue this year, of how we can back it up. And we need to back it up because we've got, you know, whilst we're dropping points, I think like a few games around us today weren't played, so we lose that game in hand. Listen, we're still, I think, 4 points, 5 off the relegation. So, you know, it's still in our own hands, and I think that, you know, we get 9, 12 points, so I think we'll be okay. Just got to keep working, but I think it's important at the moment is that with a lot of negativity going on and frustration from fans, etc., management team, players, I think it's just important that overriding message from me is that stick together, because we can collectively be a lot more of a force than if we start fractioning. Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate the support of the fans. I know there wasn't many today. It wasn't that loud, and it could be out of frustration of the last few weeks. But, you know, let's get back together, because Tuesday night really, really was a good atmosphere at home, and I think we need the fans to be with us. And we realised that last week when it was quiet, and we saw the benefits Tuesday. We've seen it again today. But, you know, let's all stay together. Let's stay positive. We'll have a good week on the training pitch. Hopefully we can enjoy the game next week, get 3 points and move on.
Nice one. Thank you, Brad.
Cheers, bro.